So Father's Day is right around the corner, and I was trying to figure out what could I sew for Father's Day. And I came across this Sloppy Joe's grilling apron by ABBEY Quilts. Now, I'm a beginner sewist, so I was a little nervous, but I did manage to put it together. And that was an accomplishment because if I can do it, you can do it, because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I figured, why not do it again and let you sew along with me? The really fun thing about this pattern is that it also has a youth sizes in here. So you can sew matching ones for a father and his son. If you want to try it out with me, I have it linked in the description below. I've already got all the pieces cut out, so we're just gonna sew together. But you're gonna cut it out with the pattern and end up with an apron top, apron bottom, 2 accent pockets, 4 pieces for the other pockets, a neck strap, some side ties, a D-ring strap, and a carabiner strap. You're also gonna need a couple of D-rings to adjust the neck strap. So the first thing that it wants us to do is look at the wrong side of our side ties and fold 1/4 of an inch in. Then we're gonna press that fold and do the same thing to the short ends. I like to use this little handy contraption to find my 1/4 inch. And then after that, I'm just gonna eyeball it a little bit to make it go faster. So I've got this strap done. I'm gonna do the other one and the necktie. All right, I've got all 3 folded and pressed, and now what we do is we fold them inwards like this, and we're gonna press them together. Whoop. So I like to just take the corner pieces, put these together first, and work my way to the end. Make sure you get a good and straight, even fold there. Once I get to the other end, I'm gonna really make sure that I get the ends as even as possible. And then make sure that we do that for the other straps and ties. I've got them all folded and pressed, and now we're gonna put a 1/4 inch top stitch all the way around each of them. Next, we're gonna take the D-ring strap and the carabiner strap and fold and press them in the same way. And then in 3, 2, 1, we're gonna do a magic trick by top stitching them. We're gonna magically have them top stitched. There we have it. But we're not done with these. I'm gonna put the carabiner strap to the side for a little bit. We're gonna fold this in half and just finger press. Take your D-rings and slip them on down in there like so. And then we're gonna stitch as close to the edge as possible. So my presser foot is right up against this. Now we're gonna give our top some shape. So I've cut out the pattern, and I'm gonna take my top fabric and place the pattern on the corners and using a rotary cutter to cut this out. We're gonna get the shape of the top of the apron by folding it in half, and I've already done it, as you can tell. So if you can see, this used to be part of the top, but I cut it out. And by folding it in half, you can get both sides cut out at the same time, which I actually didn't do. I forgot that part and did it the hard way. So we're gonna press the edges of this as well, but it's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna start with the curved edges first, fold them into the wrong side, which I don't really have much of a wrong side, but you might. And you're gonna fold in 1/4 inch, we're gonna press, but then you're gonna fold it in again 3/8 of an inch and press again. After we do that on the curved edges, we're gonna sew 1/8 of an inch of a top stitch, then go back and sew 1/4 inch next to that seam, press it, and repeat all of those steps for the neck and the sides. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, had to have an outfit change obviously because it's a different day because I didn't finish this in time the other day. So we're gonna pick up where we left off, which for you is instant. We're gonna add the pockets now. We've got all the edges sewn together. So you're gonna take a ruler and measure 6 inches from the outside in. I'll throw some B-roll on here so that it makes sense visually. But you're gonna mark 6 inches on one side and 6 inches from the other side so that when you stick your pockets on, the end of them are gonna be the exact same length from the side of your apron. So you're gonna take your pocket, and here's the thing. Any pattern that you look at that I notice, they will say to put your stuff right sides together. I don't know why I struggled with that for the longest time. Every time I would see something say right sides together, I would think from the right, and it just messed with my brain. So I like what Trisha here at Sewing Parts Online says, and she says put them pretty side to pretty side. Cause see, this is the pretty side, this is the pretty side, and you stick them like that. So here's my little mark. You can't really see that, I'm sure, but it's there, trust me, you gotta believe me. And I'm just gonna pin that. I've also learned that there is an art to pinning things. I have not mastered that. I don't understand the best way to do that. And I always realize what I did wrong when I get to my sewing machine. We're gonna sew a 1/2 inch seam going this way, and then when we're done, we're gonna fold these down. So I'll show you what that's like in a second. So we've got them all sewn together, and we're just gonna flip them over and press them down with our iron. So let's do that real fast. Now that we've got that done, we're gonna take our bottom piece, and ignoring this top part right here, we're gonna take the sides and the bottom, fold them over a 1/4 inch, press that, and then fold over another 3/8 of an inch and press that. We're back at our sewing machine, and we're gonna sew a 1/4 inch along the sides that we just pressed. Oh, you're fine right now. I'm unsewing.
Unsewing.
Yeah, Trisha corrected me a second ago. So we finished prettying up our edges, and now we're gonna add our pockets to the top portion of the bottom part of our apron. This is how we do that. So just like the top part of our apron, we're gonna measure in 6 inches. Take our pocket that is blending in with this right now and face it pretty side to pretty side. Pin it. Hang on. Actually, let's make sure that we're not doing this upside down, because you gotta look at how it looks when you flip it over. That would have been bad. Now we're gonna take the carabiner strap that we sewed earlier, fold it in half, about 1 inch from the pocket, where if you're looking at it like this, it's on the right. When you're wearing it, it's the left pocket. About 1 inch over, you're gonna pin it into place. And then we're gonna sew our pockets and carabiner strap with a 1/2 inch seam. Got our pockets, we've got our carabiner, and now we're gonna take the pockets and flip it over to the back. We're gonna press this down with the iron. And I'm just gonna do that really fast and then come right back over here. All right, we're almost done. We have our bottom with the pockets. We have our top with the other part of the pockets. And now we're gonna stitch them together. So this is gonna be kind of like a little puzzle piece, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. with your pretty sides together. So here's the pretty side of the top of our apron, and then we'll take the pretty side of our bottom. So it's gonna look like the bottom part is upside down, and you wanna take the pockets and line those up, stretch them out so that they get even. This will take some finagling. This also might be where you realize that your dimensions are off, but you know, it's okay because this is handmade. This is not meant to be perfect if that does happen. So I'm gonna line this up as best as I can, like I said, and start pinning. And then my little trick is to start trying to perfect one area at a time, pin that, and then worry about the rest. And as you can see, so for my pockets, I did end up cutting them not at the exact lengths. When we go to sew them, you just want to make sure that you're sewing from the shortest length that you have. You might be more particular than me when you cut your fabric. I am kind of loosey-goosey, so you might not have that problem that I have. Now we're gonna sew the bottom parts and the pockets together, and you're gonna sew a 1/2 inch seam until you reach the pockets. When you reach the pockets, you're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam, and then when you get back to the main body of your apron, you're gonna do a 1/2 inch seam again. Don't forget that you're gonna be sewing over your carabiner strap. If you need to make adjustments as you go along, that's totally fine. And since my fabric is a little shorter, I'm gonna be constantly making sure that I'm actually sewing it. The reason that I'm taking my pins out is just because my fabric is so uneven that I'm just doing my best to hold it together with my hands instead. And I'm probably gonna be clipping the excess fabric. Back to my 1/2 inch, and this is a little wonky, at least for me. I don't know how it looks for you. So I just made sure that I finagled my fabric down here so that I can get it straight here in this middle part again. And I'm gonna move this fabric out of the way so that I can see where my measurement is. Made it to my next pocket. Gonna lift my presser foot, spin that around, and attempt to do a 1/4 inch. Going all the way down. I'm just gonna, again, I'm personally gonna take my pins out just so that I can use my fingers to line things up as best as I can. But that's a personal preference. All right, we've got pockets. We're gonna do some cleanup. Turning it around, we're gonna trim some of the seam because there's just a little bit of extra fabric there that we really don't need. And then before and after each pocket, you wanna clip some of the seam allowance without clipping through the actual seam because our corners there are a little funky. See, this is what I'm talking about. I made a mistake right here. I'm gonna have to go back and sew that part so that nothing falls out of the pocket. After we've got it all clipped up, we're gonna take it to our ironing board and press the seams up towards the apron body. So this is the bottom, this is the body. And as I'm doing this, I can see where I can cut just a little bit more where the pockets are. I couldn't really see so well earlier. So making sure that I do not cut the actual seam, I'm gonna give this some room here and cut these parts off. Now what you can do to finish the seam and make it look a lot prettier is do a zigzag stitch all the way across and around the pockets. That's not a pocket. Where's the pocket? In the inside. I need more coffee. And around the pockets. But I'm gonna skip that step and just sew an 1/8 inch top stitch along the bottom of the apron top. Now all we have left is the top pocket. That's gonna hit the microphone. And the straps. We're gonna sew these two pieces, pretty side to pretty side. A 1/4 inch on the sides and the bottoms, obviously leaving the top untouched so that it can be a pocket. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that really fast and then come right back. And we're done, like magic. We're just gonna clip the edges or the corners, fold it inside out, try to get those corners out there, and then pick a side and fold it about 1/2 inch inwards. We're gonna press that and make 2 stitches. One that's an 1/8 inch, one that's a 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna go press this, sew it, and be right back. Now we're gonna bring back out our apron, get out the pocket that we just sewed. So centering it as best as we can, and then 3.5 inches from the top. So right here is where it's gonna go. I'm gonna fold the other side in, and I'm gonna sew all the way around an 1/8 inch. We're gonna take all of our straps and sew them into a square with an X, about an inch from each edge. This is gonna be a lot of twisting and turning. And one thing that you wanna make sure is paying attention to how your pattern is gonna lay. So make sure that you kind of visualize it first by putting it all together before sewing, and then head to the sewing machine, because you probably don't wanna sew your pattern upside down. And that's it. We did it. What's really cool is with the D-ring strap, it's completely adjustable, so you can make it shorter, longer, and you've got your top pocket up here, your bottom pockets down here, a little accessory down here that you can stick a clip on so that you can hang your grilling tools off of if you need to. Give a little tie in the back, and there you go. Now you've made a grilling apron for Father's Day. Get stuck in the thread here. Happy